Good evening, everyone. Are we ready with Zoom, Ms. Benton? There we go.
Yes, Mayor.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order with a statement of proper notice. Notice of this meeting has been posted on the municipal bulletin board and forwarded to the Hopewell Valley News, the Trentonian, and the Hopewell Express on January 6th, 2025, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski.
Here.
Committee Member Pirandare.
Here.
Committee Member Ruder.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chait.
Here.
And Mayor Peters Manning.
Here. Color guard, please present the colors.
Detail, attention, forward, march, left, 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 right, left, left. Detail, oh. Left, fix, post, colors. Present, arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Right, face. Forward, march, left.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you tonight. Thank you all for being here tonight. We have a very exciting presentation tonight. We have a resolution promoting Patrol Officer Vincent Amabile to the position of Sergeant in the Hopewell Township Police Department. And before we get started with the ceremony, may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The resolution passes, and I will pass it over to the chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Committee. I appreciate the opportunity here to promote Sergeant Vincent Amabile tonight. Vin, why don't you come on up? Make you stand in front, look at everyone. Before we get going, I see there's quite a few people in the audience I'd just like to recognize. I see retired Sergeant Bob Sparacco from Hopewell Township. I'm sorry, Bob Sparano. I almost got you. Officer John Ferner's here too as well. Sergeant Simonelli is here too as well, so I appreciate you guys coming back for this. We have Roger Demarsky, Chief of the Pennington Fire Department. Brian Hopfacker, Fire Commissioner for Pennington. I see the Deputy Chief over there from Hopewell Valley Emergency Services. Sergeant First Class Darrell Burrows and Officer Lubner. Thank you all for attending tonight as we swear in Sergeant Amabile. I know, Vin, it's been a long time coming, so I'll try and keep it brief because I know you want to go out and celebrate. So Sergeant Amabile was born in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and grew up in Neptune and Monroe Township. He graduated from Monroe Township High School in 1994. After high school, Sergeant Amabile attended Mercer County Community College, where he obtained a degree, associate's degree in criminal justice. After college, he completed police training at the Ocean County Police Academy, graduating with the class of 71, not 1971. Sergeant Amabile began his law enforcement career as a special law enforcement officer Class 1 and later Class 2 with the Seaside Park Police Department, where he worked there for 2 summers. He was then hired by the Jamesburg Police Department in 2000 and promoted to a full-time police officer position. In November of 2001, Officer Sergeant Amabile was hired by the Hopewell Township Police Department and joined our team. During Sergeant Amabile's time here, he has worked as a traffic unit officer, firearms instructor, assisted with our training bureau, and he's currently one of our drone pilots. Over the years, Sergeant Amabile has been presented with several department awards and commendations. Additionally, he is the past president of the police department's PBA and also a member of the New Jersey State PBA hockey team. With this promotion to sergeant, Sergeant Amabile will assume the command of B Squad in the patrol division. We look forward to watching Vin grow in his new position. Here with Sergeant Amabile tonight are his wife Pauline and their 2 children, Vinny and Anthony, along with his mother Debbie and her boyfriend Kevin. Again, can I have Pauline and the boys stand up here? We'll do the oath.
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of sergeant in the Hopewell Township Police
of the
Department,
office of sergeant in the Hopewell Township Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
One last time, thanks. Congratulations, Sergeant. Mayor and committee members, thank you again. I appreciate it. And thank you again for the recognition for National Police Week, which is coming up next week, so thank you.
It's coming up right next, so if you all want to stay for that one more proclamation, and then I understand that while we have some scintillating business tonight, that there's more important parties to go to. So if you would like to stay for the proclamation for Police Week, that's first. But congratulations, Sergeant Amabile, and thank you all for being here tonight. I say it often, but this is the best police department in the state of New Jersey, and we're really proud that you're part of our community and protecting our community, and thank you all for all that you do every day. So without further ado, we'll go to our proclamation for National Police Week, and we will start with committee member Purandare, who's on Zoom tonight.
All right. To recognize the National Police Week 2025 and honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in the communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Hopewell Township Police Department.
Whereas, since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty, including no members of the Hopewell Township Police Department. Whereas, the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Whereas 148 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 102 officers killed in 2024 and 46 officers killed in previous years.
Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund's 37th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2025. Whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th through the 17th.
Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hopewell Township Committee will observe May 11th through 17th, 2025 as National Police Week in Hopewell Township, Mercer County, New Jersey, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. And let's have a round of applause. So again, thank you all, and feel free to depart. You don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you are more than welcome to stay, should you want to. So, yeah, well, can we do a picture, actually, before we go with Sergeant Amabile and his family? Everybody? Chief, you too. All right, next we have a proclamation for the 56th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through 10th, 2025. And we will again start with Committee Member Purandare. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and
whereas the office of professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all.
Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community.
Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk.
now therefore I, Courtney Peters Manning, Mayor of Hopewell Township, do recognize the week of May 4th through 10th, 2025 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend our appreciation to our municipal clerk, Catherine Fenton Newman, Deputy Clerk Jesselyn Walters, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. And I think they deserve a round of applause. And this is one of the many underappreciated and unsung heroes of municipal government, of what the clerks deal with every day. So thank you for all that you do, and please tell Ms. Walters we said the same thing. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing Pacific Islander Heritage Month, May 2025, a legacy of leadership and resilience. And this one will start with Mr. Ruger.
Whereas the month of May is nationally recognized as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander AANHPI Heritage Month to celebrate the significant contributions, achievements, and rich cultural heritage of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders throughout the history of the United States. And whereas AANHPI communities represent a diverse tapestry of cultures, language, traditions, and histories that have enriched our nation's social, economic, cultural, scientific, and technological development. And
whereas Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders have demonstrated extraordinary leadership and resilience throughout American history, overcoming discrimination and adversity while making lasting contributions to our society. And
whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander leaders have served with distinction in business, education, government, the arts, sciences, armed forces, and countless other fields, exemplifying the theme, a legacy of leadership and resilience. And
whereas Hopewell Township recognizes the importance of honoring the history and accomplishments of AANHPI communities while working to ensure equal opportunity, justice, and inclusion for all residents. And
whereas celebrating... Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Celebrating the AANHPI Heritage Month provides the opportunity for all residents to learn and appreciate and acknowledge the critical role AANHPI communities have played and continue to play in shaping our community and nation.
Now, therefore, we, the governing body of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Hopewell Township. We encourage all residents to join in commemorating the contributions of AANHPI individuals and communities in our township, state, and nation, and to participate in programs, ceremonies, and activities celebrating the theme, a legacy of leadership and resilience. And this might be a good time to note that we have our cultural festival, which will feature members of these communities, amongst others, on Saturday, May 10th. Ms. Purandare, would you like to add anything about the cultural festival before we move on?
Yeah, thank you for that is precisely it is, and I appreciate all our communities come and share their heritage meant to get the community together, and it's kind of, make like a warm feeling and welcoming the new resident. So it will be a fun event. Please come join us there.
Thank you. And our final proclamation tonight is Older Americans Month 2025, and this one will start with Committee Member Kaczynski.
Thank you. Whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to celebrate and honor the diverse contributions and vibrant presence of Hopewell Township's older adults in our community. And whereas older adults enrich our community through their expertise, talents, innovative thinking, and continued engagement that defies outdated stereotypes about aging. And
whereas our community recognizes that aging brings new opportunities for growth, creativity, purpose, and sharing of accumulated wisdom that benefits citizens of all ages. And
whereas Hopewell Township values the perspectives and experiences of older adults who continue to reimagine what healthy, active, and purposeful aging looks like in the 21st century. And
whereas our community is committed to creating inclusive spaces and opportunities that empower older adults to pursue their passions, develop new skills, and maintain strong social connections that enhance quality of life. And
now, therefore, we, the governing body of Hopewell Township, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Older Americans Month. This year's theme, Flip the Script on Aging, challenges us to reject limiting stereotypes and recognize the dynamic, multifaceted reality of growing older in today's world. Be it further proclaimed that we call upon all residents to join us in celebrating the resilience, innovation, and continued contributions of our older citizens while working together to create a community where people of all ages can thrive. Thank you for that. Tonight, we have 2 additional items for our meeting agenda. We have a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the 2025 Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Program. And then we have an additional bills and claims, which we'll talk about when we get there. We'll put the resolution at the beginning of our resolutions. And we will move to committee member and staff reports. But before I move to Mr. Snyder, I would just like to take 1 minute to read a letter from the chair of our Fire Commissioner Board, Eric Bird. He's given me permission to read this letter in appreciation of our volunteer firefighters. So here it is. On behalf of the Hopewell Township Board of Fire Commissioners, tonight I want to express my profound gratitude and unwavering support for our Valley volunteer firefighters, volunteer emergency medical technicians, and volunteer first responders who all serve our community with extraordinary dedication and selflessness. Every day, these remarkable individuals, our neighbors, friends, and family members, answer the call of duty without hesitation. They sacrifice their time, comfort, and safety to protect our community as well as surrounding communities. They do this not for recognition or reward, but because they believe in the value of community and the fundamental importance of helping others in times of crisis. The commitment demonstrated by our Valley volunteer firefighters, volunteer emergency medical technicians, and volunteer first responders represents the very best of our community spirit. They undergo rigorous training, maintain demanding skills, and remain on call around the clock, all while balancing careers, families, and personal responsibility. Their dedication is heroic, and you are all my heroes. And I'd just like to say this was written by Fire Commissioner Eric Bird, but you're also my heroes, and I appreciate everything that our volunteer firefighters do every day. So thank you for that. And we will be celebrating our volunteer and our career staff, as well as our police department and our public works department, who are also first responders, at the 2025 Second Annual Mayor's Awards for First Responders, which will be Saturday, June 7th at 11 a.m. in Woolsey Park. Look for more information. The invitation will be coming out soon. But I wanted to say that before we move to committee reports. So, Mr. Snyder, committee reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Seeberger.
Thank you. A couple items. Mercer County will be holding a public information session on May 13th at 6 p.m. at the Stony Brook Elementary School. The county will be presenting their study regarding 3 intersections along Pennington-Lawrenceville Road, 2 of which are in Hopewell. Those are the intersections at Federal City and Stevenson and Blackwell. They're going to present their consultant's report and some recommendations for safety improvements to those intersections, and they welcome the public to attend and ask questions and share comments. The Township's MS4 Stormwater Report, Annual Report, was submitted on May 1st in accordance with the town's stormwater permit. And NJDOT has announced their fiscal year 2026 state aid grant applications, and the applications are due by July 1st of 2025, and we will be submitting applications for that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Goodell.
Nothing for open. I'll have some matters for you in closed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Troutman.
So thank you. So just a little budget update that we did introduce our budget at the previous meeting. It has been published that we will have a public hearing at our following meeting on May 19th. Okay. We are up for budget review this year by the state, so every 3 years we are reviewed. As of today, we do not have a review examiner assigned to us yet. I'm optimistic that tomorrow will be our day to receive a reviewer. So we'll keep that up to date. So as of right now, we are on schedule for the 19th.
Okay.
So we have to get through our state review as well for that to be able to happen. And other than that, I just want to remind everyone that the quarterly tax and pilot payments are due. They were due May 1st. There is a grace period as of the 10th of May. The 10th falls on a Saturday, so it's extended to that Monday.
All right, thank you. Ms. Fenton-Newman.
I just wanted to add that we will be doing a proclamation for emergency services personnel on our next meeting on the 19th, so we will be recognizing them for their week next time. So.
Yes. I want to give them their own meeting for their own week. Thank you. Okay, moving to committee reports. Mr. Ruger.
This will be brief. Agricultural Advisory Committee meets tomorrow at 7.
Thank you. Mr. Kaczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. So Ms. Troutman covered the budget, so we will announce the public hearing date as soon as we get our review done. We look forward to moving that forward. Once again, municipal tax rate will go down this year, and so we'll have more perspective on the budget at that time. The other thing from Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee has sent us a recommendation that we begin to actively enforce trespassing on the Twin Pines fields. I know we have been, up to this point, we have been providing warnings. They have shared with the chief that there have been several people who have been there more than once, and I believe at some point they feel strongly that we need to enforce our laws and rules regarding that field because damage is occurring and it is an unsafe situation for coaches and kids.
Thank you. Ms. Purandare.
Nothing much to report. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to remind one more time, Multicultural Festival, May 10th, 11:03. Please come enjoy. It's a community day. Thank you.
Thank you, and Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I'll be brief tonight. Just to note that the Tourism and Economic Development Advisory Committee will be meeting next Wednesday, and the Youth Advisory Board will be meeting next Thursday, and they'll actually be at one of our upcoming meetings sharing their big project for the year, which is on wellness. In addition to that, Public Works continue doing lots of great things around the township. The one thing I will note, just as spring is upon us, both the wonderful weather over the weekend, but even the rain we're seeing today, that parks and open space mowing is in progress, so great for community assets.
Thank you. And I have a couple of things for this evening. First, I met with members of the fire district and the fire department and JCP&L about their response times. So we have a new rep from JCP&L. They talked about the reliability improvements. They're investing $2 million in Hopewell Township for reliability improvements, which should be done by the end of this year. And she seems really great and committed to making improvements and prioritizing Hopewell Township. So I am cautiously optimistic that things will, JCP&L will improve. Also on the traffic light at Ingleside and 31, we have an item on our bills list tonight for, I believe it's $78,000, $85,000, $85,000 to the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Once they receive that payment, they will begin to schedule the work to install the traffic light. So like many things in government, it is taking longer to install that traffic light than I personally would like. I know there was another accident there this week, but it is moving along, and hopefully this next step will get things really moving to have it be installed soon. Okay, so with that, we'll move to our public section. If anyone would like to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name, where you live, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand, and Ms. Fenton-Newman will call on you. Caroline from Hopewell Township. Oh, thank you. So I continue to have concerns over the $4.7 million cost to educate the kids from Hopewell Park. And, you know, I'm hearing the argument, oh, we should welcome them, and we do welcome them. We have no problem with these people. It's the inequity of the situation. So, and that's exactly what the lawsuits from the boroughs are about. So all the township, the rest of the township, has to pay for the cost of the students that are under that pilot program. So my question to you is, will you be willing to commit to using pilot dollars to pay for these students, the cost to educate them? And I think my other question, I saw something in there about a dam being removed by the old Tahila, and just wondering why we need to remove it. Thank you.
If there's anyone else that would like to speak, please come to the microphone.
My name is Kurt Valherbst, and I live on Pennington Harborton Road. And I wanted to add to what Kevin Kuczynski talked about in terms of the concern we have at the field at Twin Pines. I think it's important. I've been coming to meetings for 40 years. I've been involved with recreation in the community for 40 years. And I started when I was 5, by the way. You know, I've been coming in, and I think it's important that we really think about how we can protect our field that we spent a whole lot of money to create. You know, when I first started coming to meetings, you know, to promote recreation in the community 40 years ago, 35 years ago, you know, I'd have to sit here and listen to these old guys come up and complain about the amount of volume of traffic that will be created if we create these fields, and the fact that the noise that these kids will make when they're playing on the field will disrupt their life. Well, I'm that old guy now, and I just want to make sure that we do what we can do to protect that field that we've got. I think it's a critical thing, and it really needs to be done quickly. You know, there's a major problems with our residents coming out and needing to having field time on the field, or just a family coming out when there's no one on the field, and them trying to get out on the field, and they come there and there's 20 or 30 people who are there who do not have the use of field, assigned use of the field. So it's really important, and it's difficult. So our coaches or our residents have to go out there and try to take 30 or 40 people off the field, and I think that's uncomfortable for them. It's not something that we should ask them to be doing. So I think it's important that we take care of that. You know, we've tried a couple different things. We've tried police drive-bys, and that has probably helped some of it. We don't have any idea on how much it's helped, because the problem is continuing. It hasn't stopped. We've had coaches call the police. If you get there, call the police, and they'll come and remove the guys or the people from the field. But by the time 10 minutes for the police to get there, 5 minutes or 10 minutes to get them off the field, and 5 minutes for the coach to get organized again, that really cuts into their time that they should have playing on the field, and the time that they've reserved. So I think it's really important that we work on this. We've tried a couple, again, we also tried to install cameras, and that doesn't seem to have helped the situation. So as Kevin said, we've issued, the Recreation Advisory Committee has issued 2 resolutions. One, the general resolution, as Kevin pointed out, to really up the security on the field, and a second one, which I guess personally I'm in favor of, would be to install a 10-foot high security fence that would, in my feeling, would eliminate the situation very quickly, and with no problems, and it
Thank
would
you.
eliminate the concern that police would have to come out there to take care of it, would eliminate the concern of our residents having to take care of the problem.
Thank you very much. So your time is up, but I actually, the chief of police is here and I've asked him to stay for this, so I'll have him address that at the end. I'll take all of the public comments and then I'll address your concern at the end of the public comment,
Okay.
but thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Jacob. I'm from Hopewell Township. I just have several questions I'd like to ask. They're all
Can you
going
just
to
say
be
your
referring.
last name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jacob Markovich.
Sure.
Just have several questions I'd like to ask, all regarding the BMS property. So the first is it true that there's a complaint against Hopewell Township in connection with the sale of the BMS property? Secondarily, is it true there was an offer for $55 million before the winning bid? 3, is it true the single owner that the single owner made an offer for the property as is, which would not require a zoning change? 4, why was the plaintiff's offer hidden from the community? Is this what led the community to believe zoning change was needed to attract a buyer? 5, was there more than one offer higher than the winning offer that was hidden from the public? 6, is it true the zoning change allows for manufacturing and multiple owners of subdivided parcels? Have these subdivisions been sold, and if so, to whom? And lastly, have any parts of the property been approved for residential? Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. If there's anyone else that would like to speak, please come to the microphone. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand, and when we're done with the room, Ms. Fenton Newman will call on you.
Good evening, Allison Yakis from Hopewell Township. I'm just wondering if anybody here on the committee or addressing you folks has property or is an owner of the property in Hopewell Park or any of the new developments going up, and if so, is that required to be disclosed anywhere? Because it seems like it's a conflict of interest, and I'm just wondering about that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Sylvia Kosas from Pennington Borough. Our mayor took the time to write a recent letter, and I'd just like to highlight some of the comments made about the lawsuit that hasn't been dropped by Pennington Borough, because the lawsuit centers on the tax exemption granted by the township and subsequent pilot agreements. Since our regional school district formation, our municipalities have shared educational costs based on property valuations. Hopewell Township's tax exemption for this development wrongfully removed approximately $332 million from the base used to calculate their contribution to the school district, shifting a greater school tax burden, approximately $25 million as calculated by a financial expert almost 2 years ago, over the next 30 years to the borough's taxpayers. The pilot agreement, and this is the important part, the pilot agreement does not provide any proportionate contribution from Hopewell Township for ongoing educational expenses, costs that we're going to have to pay in our annual tax bills. In addition, the addition to Bear Tavern with the $16.1 million only addresses the immediate capital cost. It fails to address the fundamental lasting inequality created by pilot agreements that prompted the borough's litigation. We believe that Hopewell Township must address this tax inequality. The township should pay its fair share of educational cost on a yearly basis, now and in the future. If the pilot agreement were to stand and be upheld, the township will collect approximately $387 million over 30 years. That solely benefits Hopewell Township's municipal government, not the school district. Our legal action, the mayor said, does not challenge any affordable housing. We are welcoming. We don't want to be bad neighbors, but we want to remember that it only contests the tax exemption agreement and resulting tax burden shifted to the boroughs. Even Mayor Ryan in the local paper said that he felt the township still needs to do more. He stated that the new addition provides extra space, but new classrooms also need teachers and supplies, and new students need transportation. So my question to you is, what will this committee do on a yearly basis to provide for the needs of the students apart from a building? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, Stephen Clofer, Hopewell Township. It's been a while since I've been to one of these meetings, but I've been learning more and more recently about a lot of the overlap between the pilots, taxes, school board, and things like that. Question that I have for the Township Committee who entered into the pilot agreements. What were you viewing as the benefit to the community members by entering into these types of agreements versus just sticking with the typical, you build, you pay your normal property taxes, that percentage that goes to the school board for everybody else would continue to flow through?
So how it works is you ask all of your questions, and then I will go back at the end.
Well, that was my first question. Okay. Second question is, as I've become learning a little bit more, would just ask for the Township Committee's commitment when it comes to transparency of information that they're sharing with the public, because I see a lot of things that are complete different odds with each other. It's not to say one side is wrong, the other is right. It's just that there has to be a better way to get to the truth about these decisions that are being made. So that would be the commitment I'm asking from you.
Is that all of your questions?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom, Ms. Fenton Newman?
Yes, ma'am. Susan Bristol, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I'm Susan Bristol from the Watershed Institute, where I serve as the Municipal Policy Specialist. And the reason for my attendance tonight is to commend you for including a resolution in your agenda and urging you to pass the resolution. This would be the one which is 12I, authorizing a contract with One Water Consulting LLC for the Lower Millstone River Watershed Improvement Plan. I want to thank you for your consideration, vision, and participation in a regional approach to watershed management and improvement. This is a timely resolution for the MS4 permit compliance and for the best possible outcome. We really appreciate the initiative of your staff and elected officials to understand this opportunity and its benefits. Your leadership by passing this resolution can inspire other municipalities to collaborate with the recognition that watersheds and environmental systems do not stop at political boundaries. Thank you for your partnership now and over the years, your interest in improving Hopewell Township's environment and that of your neighbors. With this initiative and many others, we urge you to pass the resolution and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else on Zoom?
No, Mayor.
All right, I see one more in the room.
Good evening, Jim Bird, Hopewell Township. I thought that was a good point that Stony Brook Millstone just brought up. And my question to the Township Committee is, why don't you look at anything north of Route 546 in regards to affordable housing? You've done minimal amount, but you've penetrated everything to the southern area. So you know that there's Ewing Lawrence Sewer Authority, you know that there's Trenton Waterworks, you know that there's Stony Brook Millstone. Stony Brook Millstone should be evaluated thoroughly and evaluated for affordable housing usage. I would like to know why that's being avoided. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, with that, I'll close the public comment section. And because we have the chief here, I will go to ask him, help me answer that question. But before I do that, I just want to answer one question from Ms. Yakis. I don't own any property in Hopewell Park. I assume nobody else owns any property anywhere in any of our new developments. Is that accurate?
Nope.
Correct, and we all file a financial disclosure form.
Ms. Perdare, do you own any property anywhere in any of our new developments? Yeah, I think you're on mute.
No, I don't.
No, so none of us own any property, and I'm just curious about that question coming up. It seems to be one of those questions where you're insinuating something without any backing for it. So I would hope that we are all extremely transparent. We fill out financial disclosure information every year. So I would hope that we could keep information that is passed in Hopewell Township to facts. None of us own any property, so I would like to just make that abundantly clear before we move on. Chief, could you please help me address this, the pilot? Before you, or come on up, but I would like to mention that our ordinance does allow for play at the fields for small groups and individuals less than 10 people. So I find it's important to find a balance between letting taxpayers whose tax money support that field and keep it protecting the field. So the wear and tear of the field by community members and visitors using the field, I think, is part of the deal. What I'm concerned also about is points of conflict between coaches and members of the public using the field. So I personally am opposed to a fence around a community asset because I think it should be allowed to be used by members of the community because the fees don't support the fields in its entirety. Taxpayer money is also used to refurbish the fields and support the maintenance of the field. So Chief, if you could comment please on the other issue, which was about ticketing people or the points of conflict with people on the fields and the groups that need to use the fields.
Yes,
or that pay to use the fields.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, committee. And thank you, Kurt. I know we've talked before about this issue, and we've tried and imposed some few things that we thought would stop some of the issues you're having. Right now, we have the cameras are back up. They were offline for a little bit. They're back up and they're running. All of our officers have that information readily available for the scheduling part of it on their in-car computers. So we're doing our best to monitor, make sure that when there's permitted hours there at play, we're there to make sure that there's no one there on the fields. We're doing our best when it comes to that. What I would like to get is a true gauge of how many times you've actually had the conflict with people on the field. To date, I think we've only had 20 or 25 phone calls in the last 3 years about issues between the coaches and those that shouldn't be on the field. And so that would help us figure out the importance of it. And we value and we want the youth in the area to be able to play and participate in sports. I understand the concerns about 5 minutes for a response time, and it does delay some of the other coaches from getting on the field and getting their party set up. But please do. If we found it's not been repeat offenders that have been there, so when we do show up, we try and identify those people that are there, and generally they've been very kind with us and they move over to the other fields. So we're trying to be there ahead of when the scheduled permitted times coaches are there to make sure that if anyone's on the field, we identify them when we move them on. So we're doing our best of what we can there. As far as, I agree with what the mayor had said, we don't want to make sure that we're out there and we're ticketing everyone that's on that field. Just like when we have a speeding complaint, we're not going to rate everyone 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. There's some discretion when it comes into that. So we're looking for those repeat offenders so we can at least make them aware, like we do with our motor vehicle enforcement. It's education, right? So we're educating the public to let them know, hey, look, you can't be traveling the speed on this road. Next time, can you please slow it down? So, but we haven't. And again, like the only thing I ask of you and of the other coaches to please call. We don't want there to be an argument or a physical altercation to take place. And for only having 20, 25 phone calls in the last 3 years, it doesn't seem that that's the case. And I don't know because I have no measurement to gauge that.
Can I speak a minute?
Normally not, but yes, please.
I can't give you any number, but I know I've chased people off the field. Some of the other Record Advisory Committee have chased people off the field when they shouldn't have been there, and that's a concern that we have as terms of the use of the field and the damage to the field when you have 30 people from out of town coming and using our field, and that becomes a problem, and that's why we're concerned about it. Let's stop it so we don't have to deal with that anymore. but you don't have to be involved as much either. I mean, that takes time away from you guys when you have to go out there and address the problems that we could solve.
It's a good chief.
I appreciate it, but the youth's always a concern. We're like, yeah, I grew up playing sports. I understand that. I coach sports. So, like, I want to make sure that you have access to the fields and are able to play. So the only thing I'd ask is if we're not there, please just pick up the phone and call. Nobody wants to see have a physical altercation with anyone. That's our job, too. We can go out and we can escort the people off the field, right? That's something we do for the community. So please just if we can get a gauge on how frequently this is happening, that might help me as far as especially the days of the week when you're really seeing it. By gathering this data, it'll help me to provide the officers there when I need to be there. But like I said, right now, we have officers assigned to make sure that they're checking them out, to make sure that the permanent people have the field. However, there's times where something comes in and we have to go someplace else. You know, there's other, and I wish we could.
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon and waiting for somebody to show up
Yeah.
to get them off, you know?
Right.
So, all right, so thank you, Chief. Thank you. I know you probably have a promotion party to go to, so I'm sorry for keeping you here, but thank you for your time and I appreciate it. Thank you for all that you do all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would like to address some of the questions about the pilot agreement. There were a lot of questions that I can address at once. There has been some misinformation and some misconceptions. I think some of it perhaps is deliberate from different members of the public, not anyone in this room, but about what a pilot agreement does. When the way municipal property taxes work and the way school district property taxes work, the school district sets their levy. When they set their budget, it includes the levy of how much of what their budget is and what needs to be collected from property taxes. Then that is distributed amongst the taxpayers of the Hopewell Valley according to the school funding formula, which coincidentally, or not coincidentally, but an artifact of that is that the per pupil cost in the boroughs is much lower than the per pupil cost in the township because it is allocated based on assessed value of the township versus assessed value of the boroughs. But in any case, a pilot agreement does not ever change how much money goes to the school district. A pilot agreement no, it does not. It does not change how much money goes to the school district. That is a fact. I have said that over and over and over again. People seem to not want to believe me, but that is absolutely a fact and is the truth. The school gets their levy. That is what they get. Now they're going to get a windfall of $16.1 million because we have allocated, assuming we can get through the litigation, we have committed to allocate $16.1 million for the construction at Bear Tavern. But a pilot agreement does not change how much money the school district gets. It changes how it is allocated amongst the taxpayers. So the pilot agreement itself contemplates that the township committee would also give money over and above our regular levy to the school district. We have been in discussions, Mr. Ruger, you can add to this if you'd like, with the school district about what their ongoing needs are going to be. When the pilot agreement was, well, I'll let you address that first and then I'll go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the key thing here is, the fact is we have given the school district every penny that they have asked for. They asked for money for Bear Tavern, we gave the money for Bear Tavern. I'm talking with the superintendent to find out what ongoing costs are. I've specifically asked about things like transportation. We will continue to talk to them. We have always said that we will contribute to the schools. So, you know, the fact that we have, it's a bizarro world when we keep our promise and we are criticized for keeping our promise. But it seems to be the world we're living in the moment. So we will continue to talk to the schools. We will continue to provide funds. It was contemplated in the pilot. I don't know what else to say.
Mr. Kaczynski, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I do. So, you know, a couple things regarding the project and the pilots. First, you know, the construction of the 216 affordable units at an average cost of $270,000 represents an investment of $60 million that was not funded. It fulfills our third round housing element and fair share plan, and it was funded without subsidy from the township. So that's important. Imagine if we had to pay $60 million. It also means that we did not have to pay for infrastructure improvements to the site. You know, Lennar and the others that are collaborating, they've paid to ELSA alone over $26 million towards the construction of that project. The pilot revenue, as Mr. Ruger and the mayor have said, does support investment, to the schools, to EMS, and to other amenities for our residents. Right now, it happened well before my time, but as of 2021-22, Hopewell Township currently pays 34% more per student enrolled in the Hopewell Valley schools than the boroughs. So that represents a burden of $3.8 million that Hopewell Township residents are paying over and above what their fair per pupil cost would be. As the mayor said, the pilot does not impact the school budget. We have announced back in 2016 we were going to contribute towards necessary improvements in the schools. We passed a resolution at our last meeting committing to a long overdue investment in getting the kids out of trailers in Bear Tavern. I've been here over 20 years. There were trailers back at Bear Tavern 20 years ago, and it's time for kids to be in classrooms. So everyone on this dais supports the school system. We are working and striving to work in harmony with the boroughs. But as I look at it, we're doing the right thing by our residents, and that's ultimately who we were elected to serve. It's the residents of Hopewell Township. And so making sure we are making the prudent investments in the community that sustain the school, that sustain EMS, and build the community are what we have been endeavoring to do. We've talked in broad measure of what we're going to use the monies from the pilot towards. Some of it's going to go to debt reduction. We're going to talk at the budget meeting. Fully a quarter of every dollar of the current municipal tax levy goes to debt service. That's too much. That's higher than neighboring communities. And so we want to, over time, pay down that debt. That's a prudent use. It will reduce the burden on residents of taxes longer term. We want to invest in services. Beyond the school investment at Bear Tavern, beyond the EMS investment, a portion of the pilot's going to help build the new senior and community center, which will benefit all of the residents of Hopewell Valley. So, as I look at that, we've been also talking about how we were expanding services prudently, and we're trying to do that without burdening our residents. So we've expanded our police force. We have, as Mr. Chait was talking about, Public Works going out. We have started with an additional crew and additional part-time people part-time crews that seasonally can help better service the community. Our goal is to provide the services our residents expect, while keeping a lid on taxes. And, I'm a taxpayer just like everyone in the room. And so it's important that we keep a lid. The reason we gave money to the schools is we did not want that burden of the Bear Tavern expansion to impact our residents. And so that's why we've committed, pending the resolution of the litigation, that we will give the $16 million to fund the improvements at Bear Tavern. So
thank you. And I think, can I reiterate that or add to that the school district's taxpayers are our taxpayers and residents. So we have the best interests of the Hopewell Township taxpayers at heart always. So it would make no sense for us to do something that would hurt our taxpayers. It doesn't make any sense. And there was a question about transparency. We have been extraordinarily transparent and clear and consistent about what we have said about the pilot. It is all the truth. We cannot control what other people say about what may or may not be true about the pilot, about lots of things. So I do want to just finally, before we move on from this topic, bring it back to what the pilot agreement was for. The question was, what is the benefit to the community? Mr. Gatinsky did touch on this, but affordable housing in New Jersey is complicated, and nobody thinks the way we do affordable housing in New Jersey is the most efficient way to make sure that people have safe and affordable places to live. It's just not. It's an unfunded state mandate. We all believe in the moral and constitutional obligation to provide affordable housing in New Jersey. So within this flawed framework that we have to do our best to make sure that we can fulfill our obligation. And the pilot agreement was created in order to make sure that these affordable inclusionary developments could happen. That, as Mr. Kuczynski mentioned, the cost of utilities in Hopewell Township is extraordinarily high. The cost of bringing sewer and water to Hopewell Park and other surrounding areas of the township was extraordinarily high, involves litigation with the Ewing Lawrence Sewer Authority. This pilot agreement allowed the project to be financially viable. In fact, there was a developer before Lennar that pulled out because they said it was too expensive to build in Hopewell Township. So the pilot agreement was a necessary part of our affordable housing obligation. It does not hurt the school district at all, and we are committed to giving money over and above their levy to the school district. It would be a windfall to the school district. It would be money that they would not, without the pilot, they would still get their levy. They would not get a single cent more than their levy. With the pilot, they might get more than their levy because we can allocate money to the school district through the levy, such as the $16.1 million. So that is the story on the pilot agreement. I understand that there's misinformation out there, but that is the truth and the facts, and that is all we can control, is what we say in our messaging on it. So moving on, the dam at Hyohila. Ms. Troutman, could you, the dam at Hyohila, I can give the update on it, but please, or the broad strokes of it, but you please correct me if I'm wrong. We had originally wanted to dredge the pond at Hyohila and make the water quality better and keep that as a pond. When the DEP inspected as part of that project, they said, no, you need to
rehabilitate
the dam. That's the language I'm looking for, which would have cost how much, approximately?
We didn't have a figure on the dam per se, but we were still evaluating that. But once it was reestablished, it would require ongoing, continual maintenance throughout the life of that dam.
Maybe Mr. Seeberger, could you give us any hint about how much it might cost to rehabilitate a dam, or just order of magnitude? Because from my memory was that it was outrageously expensive.
Yeah, when you get into a dam and meeting DEP's regulations, it probably would be in the millions of dollars just to reconstruct the dam
and then
itself. And then you have all the other work that has to go along with it, with the dredging and then ongoing maintenance to keep it viable.
Right. Thank you. So the reason we as a committee have decided to decommission the dam rather than rehabilitate the dam was purely financial. It would have been not financially viable or financially possible for us to rehabilitate and take care of the dam.
The long-term maintenance.
Long-term maintenance, yes. Right. And it also, there wasn't enough of an upside. It was justify that extraordinary cost. Is there anything that I missed you would like to add, Ms. Troutman? Okay. That's the dam. There was a question, it seems Mr. Markovich has left, but Mr. Goodell, that's involving litigation, so I know we can't talk about the BMS litigation.
Not going to touch on it.
All right, so we can't talk about that.
Other than that, we're going to defend any lawsuit vigorously.
Thank you. I think that is, why is all affordable housing in the southern tier? I think we have tried, Pennytown was one example, it was before our time, to put affordable housing not in the southern tier. There are regulations about where you need to put where affordable housing can be built, such as in a sewer service area and close to transportation. That happens to all be in the southern tier. We are committed to continuing to look in the fourth round of other opportunities, but that is the reason. It's because of transportation and sewer, primarily sewer, of where affordable housing has been built. Thank you to the watershed. I anticipate we'll not have a problem with that resolution passing. We already did one resolution for the, I believe it was the Millstone, the Stony Brook watershed. There are 3 watersheds in Hopewell Township: the Stony Brook, the Millstone, and the Assumpink. So thank you for all of the watershed's work on bringing us all together to look at stormwater management in a holistic manner.
And the Delaware. 4.
And the Delaware, excuse me, 4. I missed one. It's my favorite river. I don't know how I could have missed that. All right, I think I got everything. So thank you for that. Now we will move to minutes submitted for approval. We have the special budget and executive meeting minutes of March 24th, 2025, and the regular and executive meeting minutes of April 14th, 2025. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Minutes are adopted. Now tonight we have actually 4 ordinances. The C. Oldest and Furman Larison ordinance is actually 2 ordinances, but I will move them together when we get there. These are all first introduction and first reading, so we will have a full public hearing on all of these ordinances at a later date. So I will start with A, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 19-1713 as amended by bond ordinance number 21-1763, finally adopted June 17th, 2019, as amended December 20th, 2021, respectively, and providing a supplemental appropriation of $1.23 million for the decommissioning of a dam, the restoration of land around the dam to its natural state, and the installation of a fire suppression water source in and by the Township of Hopewell in the County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $1.23 million bonds or notes of the Township to finance the costs thereof. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman, we just talked about this.
Yes, so thank you. So we just had that introductory summary of what the project would be, but so talking about what this ordinance authorizes, so we're talking about a project that would be up to $2 million in total, which would not, that would be the combination of all 3 of the ordinances. The program itself would run through the New Jersey State Department of Environmental Protection. So the NJDEP has a funding source from the iBank. So it would be a program that would offer both grants and principal loan forgiveness. So ultimately, if our project is approved through this program, we could potentially have, we would authorize this debt, but may never have to actually borrow it between the combination of the grants that we could be awarded as well as the loan forgiveness.
Wonderful. Any questions or comments from the committee? Again, this is first reading, so we will have a full public hearing at a later date. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Berger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And the ordinance is introduced on the first reading and will be published in the newspaper. The second reading and public hearing date will be set for May 19th.
Thank you. Next, we have B, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 7, Section 13 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Hopewell, granting Title 39 jurisdiction to the semi-public roads, streets, driveways, and parking lots at the development known as Woodmont Forge, Hopewell Township. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Snyder, this allows our police department to enforce the laws in Hopewell Forge. Is that correct?
Exactly. It allows, it gives the police authority to enforce traffic laws on private roads and public areas, parking areas in Woodmont.
Great. Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Berger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And this ordinance has been introduced on first reading and will be published in the newspaper. The second reading and public hearing date will be set for May 19th.
Thank you. And for C, we have oldest and Furman Larison ordinances. We actually have 2 separate ordinances, which I will take together. The first is an ordinance designating the Burroughs Smith Mershon House, aka the oldest house, as a historic landmark. And the second is an ordinance designating the Furman Larison House, aka the Larison Dean Hill House, as a historic landmark. And before we have a motion, I would like to there's a couple of errors in the Furman Larison one. The 10th whereas clause, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, needs to be removed. That's, I just believe, a typo. And
It was a typo carried over from the other one.
yes, exactly.
Where
And
it says the house and property present.
that says, yes.
Okay.
And then we need to remove the street address and just say the proposed historic landmark located in block 33, lot 1.021, because the address is incorrect.
All right.
Okay, may I have a motion, please, for those 2
I'll
ordinances?
move it as amended.
Thank
Move
you.
them as amended.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder, and maybe Mr. Kaczynski as the Historic Preservation Liaison might want to add something.
Sure. Thank you. So these ordinances establish the oldest and Furman Larison houses as historic landmarks and designate them as historic landmarks and will offer several benefits, including eligibility for grants.
Wonderful. And Mr. Kaczynski, would you like to add anything about these two
No, I
properties?
just think this is a long time coming. The Historic Preservation Commission has been working to protect and preserve these two properties. The mayor and I had an opportunity to, along with Mr. Snyder, tour the oldest house. And, you know, the foundation, the original portion of the house is circa 1700. So it's literally one of the oldest structures in the township. The Furman Larison House is on Pennytown, and we have always envisioned carving that off as a separate 2-acre lot so that we can preserve the house and the barn structure there. So I think it's part of respecting our history and our past.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Roger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
And Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And the ordinances have been introduced on first reading and will be published in the newspaper. Second reading and public hearing date will be set for May 19th.
Thank you. Now we will move to our consent agenda. We have A, a resolution for redemption of tax sale certificates. B, a resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayment on subdivision. C, a resolution authorizing refunds for Hopewell Township Recreation Department program participants. D, a resolution authorizing refund of tax or sewer payments. E, a resolution authorizing refund of permit fee. F, a resolution authorizing refunds from Hopewell Township escrow accounts. G, a resolution accepting the resignation of patrol officer in the police department, Jonathan Pachillo. H, a resolution accepting the resignation of the Community Development Coordinator in the Community Development Office, Andre Alexiev. I, a resolution approving a salary and title change. J, a resolution directing the Hopewell Township Zoning Officer to issue a temporary activities permit to Capital Health Systems for an employee recognition event. May I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
There's one more.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's cut off on mine. Thank you. K, a resolution for redemption of tax sale certificates. Thank you. May I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. Your consent agenda passes. Now we'll move on to resolutions, and before we go to A, we will take the additional item, which is a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the 2025 Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Program. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder, this is about the Lawrence Hopewell Trail.
Yes, Mayor, this is for a grant for the Lawrence Hopewell Trail Cleveland Road section.
Okay, wonderful. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution is adopted. A, a resolution appointing Maggie Miller as tax collector in the tax collector's office. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
Well, our long-term tax collector is retiring effective May 30th, and Ms. Miller will be appointed for the remainder of the tax collector's term and then on January 1st, we could appoint her to her own 4-year term.
Wonderful. And she has currently serving as the deputy tax collector.
Correct.
And doing a great job.
Absolutely.
All right. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. B, a resolution appointing Wendy Burkhead as Director of Community Development, Zoning Officer, and Township Engineer in the Department of Community Development. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Snyder. Mr. Kaczynski and I had an opportunity to help you interview her, and she was fantastic. So
Yes.
take it away.
Yes. Yes, so Ms. Burkhead is expected to start on May 27th, contingent on her pre-employment checks. However, she has experience as a Director of Community Development and as an Assistant Engineer. She is a professional engineer and a certified municipal engineer.
Thank you. And Mr. Seeberger, you're not going to be going too far because we are always will continue to work with Van Cleef on many different projects. So we won't have to say goodbye to you either. So this is the best of both worlds. I think it's important that we have an in-house community development director.
And he doesn't have to come to meetings.
I know you'll miss us just a little bit, but understood. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. C, a resolution appointing Rocco Salvato as part-time seasonal labor in the Public Works Department. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
So as a part-time laborer, Mrs. Salvato will supplement our labor pool by mowing ball fields, maintaining open spaces, and other public works duties.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes, and please welcome Mr. Salvato on our behalf.
I will, thank you.
D, a resolution appointing George Snyder as interim zoning officer. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder, I'm really sorry about this, but it won't be for very long.
That's all right, Mayor.
We can vote no if you like.
I know this is a lot to put on your plate, but
I'll gladly serve.
this is just in between when
Yes,
before
until
Ms.
we-
Burkhead takes office. So,
Correct.
any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. E, a resolution appointing Jeanette Pratt as clerk floater in the administration department. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
Mr. Snyder.
Ms. Pratt will be the clerk floater, and her essential functions will include answering phones and covering employee absences of the department, helping out in court, responding to residents' inquiries, and many other duties not listed here. And we interviewed her. She interviewed very well. We feel she honed her hospitality skills while working in automotive dealerships.
Oh, wonderful.
Which could be very challenging.
Yes, indeed. All right, thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. F, a resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Hopewell, Mercer County, authorizing settlement of litigation. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Would this be better, Mr. Goodell?
Sure. This is the Elsa Deer Valley litigation. Get that feedback. So this is one of the things you alluded to earlier. Deer Valley tract is down between Nursery Road and Scotch Road at that intersection. It is slated for an affordable housing inclusionary development. It will be before the planning board shortly, but they did not have sewer service from Elsa. Elsa refused to negotiate with them, so the landowner and the developer had to sue. It was a lengthy lawsuit, lasted several years. The township got joined as an indispensable party. Not that we were involved in the litigation itself, but because we would have to sign on to any agreement that came out of it, because ultimately we will own and maintain the sewer system that is put into the development. So we won at the trial level, and Elsa filed an appeal, but before the appeal got off the ground, they indicated a willingness to settle. So Lennar and Elsa have agreed on a price for the payment of sewer service, and we will sign on to the agreement, again acknowledging that we will, in the future, own and maintain the system.
All right, thank you. And thank you for all your work on this. I know you were involved, and it was a lot, so.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from the
No,
committee?
just note that actually Deer Valley application is before the planning board, so they've been
Okay.
3 meetings so far.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. F, the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Fiscal Grant, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Snyder, this is the Municipal Alliance.
Yes, Mayor, it's a Municipal Alliance cash match request for the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse grant. The total amount of the grant is $17,058, and the township's cash match contribution is $14,000.
Thank you. And do you know off the top of your head what each borough contributes to this?
I do not. Maybe our CFO does? No?
No, all right.
Okay.
I
can
any
find out
questions
for
or,
you.
yeah, thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. G, authorizing police vehicle package pursuant to New Jersey State Contract, Division of Purchase and Property, Contract, Chaz Winter Ford. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
This is for the purchase of two 2025 patrol vehicles using 2025 operating funds. We did an emergency transfer for a prior meeting because the dealership is honoring 2020 prices, and we want to jump on this deal.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. H, a resolution authorizing a contract with One Water Consulting, LLC, for the Lower Millstone River Watershed Improvement Plan. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Snyder, this is what the watershed was discussing tonight in public comment section.
Yes, absolutely. Each municipality is required to develop a watershed management plan according to the stormwater regulations, and joining other municipalities for surveying and planning development can result in significant savings. So the total cost to develop a plan for the watershed is $254,300, and Hopewell's share would be $4,960 based on a percentage of the watershed area in the watershed.
Thank you. And Mr. Seeberger, your comment was that it would cost us much more to do this on our own. Absolutely. To comply with the MS4 permit. Okay, any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. Now we go to bills and claims. We have 2 bills and claims tonight.
Wasn't that the one that was added?
Yes, and that's what I was just going to say. Could you explain to us what is the one that was added, Ms. Troutman?
Sure, yes. So after the packet here was prepared, I received the May County quarterly tax bill. So I received it late in the day on Friday.
Okay. Thank you. And
so we'll walk it on tonight.
We should pay the county what we owe them.
Yes.
So thank you. All right, so this includes everything but the Comcast bill. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandare? Wait, she got kicked out.
Did we lose her?
Committee Member Pirandare? May I have your vote on the bill resolution?
It looks like she's muted.
Please unmute Committee Member Pirandare.
Sorry, can you please repeat?
This is bills and claims number 1.
Bills and claims number 1.
Can you hear us?
Can you please repeat? Now I can hear you.
Yes, this is bills and claims number 1, including everything but the Comcast bill, including the additional item that Ms. Troutman mentioned, which is the county tax payment.
Yes.
Thank you. Committee Member Berger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
Bills and claims number 1 passes.
And I also wanted to mention that this does include the $85,000 payment to the Department of Transportation for the Ingleside traffic light. So I am delighted that that is moving forward and hope to see that under construction very soon. Second, we have bills and claims number 2, which is the Comcast bill. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski?
Yes.
Committee Member Pirandare?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruger?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And bills and claims number 2 passes.
And now we will move on to our second public comment section. Same rules as last time. If you'd like to speak, please
Mayor,
come.
there's a third.
There's a third.
The addition number 2.
Oh, I thought we included that in the
combined it
first.
to one.
Oh, you-
I did, I
you-
combined it
Okay,
to the,
combined,
yeah.
I missed
we
that,
did.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Okay, so now we'll move on to public comment section number 2. If you'd like to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name, where you live, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand.
Yes, Jim Bird, Hopewell Township. I just want to ask the Township Committee to please go and talk to the people at the Stony Brook Millstone operation, sewer operation, and try to get an education why they don't want to give any affordable, or excuse me, any sewer to Hopewell Township, and there's reasons for it. The only thing that I recall that took place, and I'm going back many years ago, when Princeton Farms was having major problems with their own sewer system. In order to get that taken care of, they made an agreement with Toll Brothers, who put a development in across the street from Princeton Farms, in order for Princeton Farms to hook up to Toll Brothers, who in turn hooked up to Stony Brook Millstone. other than that, except for, I think, one other place where we have a, over by Hillbilly Hall, we have a double house operation there, and that's with septic. Once again, in regards to transportation, you can't talk about transportation. That is not part of affordable housing. So that has to be retracted. The other thing is, what we were doing over at Bristol Myers Squibb / the Chinese company that went in, that area was going to be affordable housing. Yes, there's no transportation there either. So please talk to that company or that organization and find out why you really can't get sewer in the northern section of 546. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Sylvia Costas, Pennington Borough. I guess, you know, we're three wonderful municipalities. We have wonderful people like you who volunteer to be on committees. We have a mayor in Pennington who volunteers. We have a mayor in Hopewell who volunteers. And it just seems like we have an issue with this pilot and how to help fund the cost of educating a student, not just putting them in a building, but educating them. And we have two mayors, I quoted already and I'll quote it again. The mayor of Pennington Borough, elected like you are, has said that that Hopewell Township's tax exemption for this development wrongfully removed approximately $332 million from the base, the denominator, used to calculate your contribution to the school district. And I know I'm not real good at math, and I read an editorial this week from someone else in the township who said that this is above her pay grade too. But if you take a chair and you remove it, there were 5, and now there's only 4 in the base, that's going to change the calculation. So my request and my question to you is, please could you present numbers to us with the mayors of Pennington Borough and Hopewell Borough that fairly and in ways that we as a public can understand how this does not impact the yearly amount that the school district gets in taxes. Because I'll be honest with you, I keep hearing the same answer, but it doesn't make any sense. When you change the base, when you remove people from the calculation who would normally be paying taxes, it has to have an effect. And pilots are up to your discretion as to what you do with the money. When the school district, when I pay my tax bill, and that 55% of my tax bill goes to the schools, they know they have that money. They don't have to be beholden to a committee to decide, well, maybe we will do something next year to help with the ongoing costs. So I think I'm just asking, could you please provide more clarity, communicate with these two mayors because they've both said it. I'll read Mayor Ryan's again.
I'm sorry that you're almost out of time.
I know
so.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Ryan says, new classrooms also need teachers and supplies, and new students need transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we go to the next person, I'm just going to say, apparently you didn't listen to what I said at the beginning. I've said this many, many, many times over the years. The way municipal and school property taxes work, it's not like there is some magic number that your taxes are, and $1 and 50 cents goes to the school, 30 cents goes to the county, and 15 cents goes to the township. The way it works is the school district sets their budget, and then that is allocated amongst the taxpayers. They are not beholden to us for any single dollar. They set their budget, we collect their taxes. So again, I've said this over and over and over again, I don't know how to say it more clearly. The school district will not lose any money from a pilot agreement. The pilot changes how the levy is allocated amongst taxpayers. It does not change how much money the school district gets. Anyone else like to speak?
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
There is something as well that as the lawyer, I need to clear up because we don't want this repeated. If Jim Davies says that we have wrongfully removed that money, he's wrong. He is misstating the facts. Everything that we did was in accordance with the law. The law allows pilot agreements exactly like the one that we entered. They sued us. We went to court. A judge said that everything we did was correct and proper. They appealed. The appeal is still pending. We're waiting for the result. So when Jim says it was wrongful, he's simply wrong. It was legal. It was done according to the book, according to the law.
Thank you.
Stephen Clover, Hopewell Township. So I have one follow-up. I was listening to your explanation, but yet I'm still back here to follow up on my question. Because I'm in the same boat as her. If you're changing the allocation, that means you're changing things, right? So how, like maybe you could put together a pilot program for dummy sheet for us to walk through an example number so that we can really see how this doesn't affect us. Because my reading, what I've learned, is that it does. It changes the tax burden. It reduces, you're reducing municipal taxes, but yet the school board is still going to need money that they're not getting from these developments. So that gets reallocated somewhere else. Where does that tax burden go? So how can you explain this in a way that we can easily understand? Because you've apparently said it a number of times, but it's not resonating with people.
Thank you.
That's my first question.
Okay.
The other question I asked the gentleman about this parks issue, is there a simple sign somewhere that says parks are booked at this time and this time and this time? So that when somebody goes there and it's not their designated time, they know, it's visible?
You can ask all of your questions and then.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom, Ms. Fenton Newman?
No.
All right, so with that, I will close the public comment section. Thank you for your comment, Mr. Byrd. I don't believe there was a question there. I answered the pilot question. I have written many articles about the pilot program too. It was in the last Town Crier. If you would like to send me an email, I can forward you some of those articles. I don't know what else to say on that issue. With Twin Pines, could we get, Mr. Snyder, I'm not sure we can answer you that question. We can get that information of how the signups work for the Twin Pines field. I don't know that information off the top of my head.
So the different groups book field time with the recreation department. So it varies every week. And we send out a schedule every week. To post a permanent sign, might be inaccurate.
Well, it might be a good idea to, at the beginning of the week, post a schedule. That's a good idea. We can look into that. Thank you. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how we've got that glass case over at Woolsey Park. Could there be
Yeah.
a similar case where at the beginning of the week it's posted so that, people know, so if it's the, group of 8 people or something, they know they can play between 7 and 8, but they need to get off the field by 8:15. It's
Okay.
not the answer to everything, but
It's very doable. There actually is a kiosk there already, so we could
That's
post
a
a
good
schedule
idea.
in the kiosk.
yeah, it's been a while since I've been over there, so sorry about forgetting about the kiosk. But that, thank you for bringing that up, because I do think that makes sense. Do we also have anything on there that says, the rules of the park, groups up to 10 can play during unstructured times? If you're more than 10 scheduled, I don't know how that works, but it seems like
It is for public it's non-organized, not team sports, so.
I believe
But
our
is that
ordinance
posted?
says
Yeah.
10 or fewer, or less than 10, I don't remember.
I mean, the thing in
But
my-
there is signage. We can probably,
Yeah.
if
We
you
can
want to
probably
go and look
improve
at it,
that.
we could probably make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lot more comfortable, potentially charging somebody with trespassing if they are on absolute full notice that, no, you're 30 people, that's not coming in and playing with it. A group of 8 people is a different story. I think it starts to move, the more clearly we do it, I think the better it gets.
Agreed, so we'll look into the signage issue, that's a good idea, and a schedule.
So just a couple things I'd like to add.
Yep, please.
So, first off, regarding the payment towards Bear Tavern, that's $16.1 million that even though the school demographer's report suggests that there is not a need for expansion at Bear Tavern, we've talked with the district and we have said we want to help them get the kids out of trailers. So, that's an important investment. Normally, the boroughs would be paying 17% of that, or $2.7 million. As part of our continuing partnership with the school district, we are covering the full cost of the Bear Tavern expansion. I also want to address a little bit about the ongoing budget. When my oldest son was a senior, the schools were at a capacity of over 4,100 students. We're now under or just about at 3,500 students. We did a demographer's report that said, very clearly that the data suggested that the schools will not exceed the capacity that we were funding, as recently as 10 years ago. And so, I know things have changed. That is the school district's prerogative, not ours. And so, as the mayor said, if they believe something is necessary to promote educational excellence in Hopewell Valley schools, we will pay, what we believe is our fair share towards that. That is how the school funding formula works. I think as Mr. Goodell said, a court has found that everything regarding our pilot agreement was upheld by the court. We have attempted to have discussions with the other municipalities. We've had fruitful discussions with one of the municipalities, and the other municipality, some members of that group have really not been good from a negotiation or discussion standpoint. And so that's all I can say. It takes two willing partners to have a negotiation, and we have multiple times reached out, in an attempt to find common ground and extend an olive branch.
Thank you. Anything else from the committee you would like to add before we go into executive session?
I actually know firsthand what happened with Princeton Farms back in 1991. If you want me to go into it, otherwise I'll just talk to Mr. Byrd separately.
I think we can do that separately,
Okay.
the history lesson, but I appreciate it. All right, so with that, could I have a motion, please, to go into executive session? Tonight we have 4 topics: litigation, real estate, contracts, and personnel.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And we will not be taking action after executive. All those in favor? Aye. Whereas it is necessary for the Township Committee to discuss real estate, legal, contract negotiations, and/or personnel matters, and whereas NJSA 10:4-12 permits the Township Committee to conduct a meeting from which the public is excluded in order to discuss such matters, and whereas the time, when, and circumstances under which discussion conducted in executive session may be disclosed to the public is when appropriate. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, that the Township Committee shall forthwith conduct an executive session to discuss the above. Be it further resolved that the scope of the aforesaid executive session will be limited to the above matters as stated. We're in executive. That was fast.